Education is the guidance of the individual towards a comprehension of the art of life. And by the art of life, I mean the most complete achievement of varied activity expressing the potentialities of that living creature in the face of its actual environment. This passage is from Alfred North Whitehead's book, The Aims of Education. This book is a collection of essays. The particular essay is The Rhythmic Claims of Freedom and Discipline. Let's talk about this quote. This is important. It's at the heart of my understanding of education, and it should be the foundation of education in the United States. Education here, the way Whitehead is using it, it's not simply the thing we see people do when they're young up to their adult age, which is schooling, going to some building, listening to someone tell you something, then taking a test, your test being evaluated to see how well you did or how poorly you did, which will then determine whether or not you get promoted or you stay in the same grade. No. Here, education refers to the path, a process to enlightenment. By enlightenment, a better understanding of humanity, what it means to be human, what it means to exist, understanding ourselves, knowing ourselves as entities of life that have consciousness, that have capacities to do things, to create, to express, to feel. What Whitehead is talking about, he's talking about the pathway, the blueprint, the guidance to not just survive as living creatures, but to thrive in our state of existence, to understand this state of existence. There are some key ideas here. I tell you, this quotation is packed with so much. I highly recommend that you take a look at this essay. But here's some of the key concepts here. For Whitehead, the wisdom he's talking about is not textbook knowledge. Wisdom is a handling of knowledge, he says. It's the mastery of knowledge. And so the path to wisdom for him is freedom and discipline. Well, what is freedom and discipline? For him, those are the prerequisites for learning, for truly mastering knowledge. And he offers a template, a rhythmic template in which people can insert, let's say, a curriculum into. And for him, that's the rhythm of education, which has 3 stages. The first stage is romance. The second stage is precision. And the third stage is generalization. Now you might be like, well, what is all this? And what does this have to do with education? Well, he says, when you try to learn something, or if you're trying to teach someone, you have to start off with the awe, the curiosity, the wonder. Shoving information in people's head not only hurts the person's head, but also destroys the information itself, the significance of it. It becomes inert knowledge, meaningless. So instead, by catalyzing interest, one can light the person's mind, the student's mind, on fire, which will be ready to consume and burn up the information, to burn up the ideas, no matter how complex it is. It will be ready to spread throughout the field of knowledge. And once that fire is lit, once it begins to grow and demand more, that's when you go into what he calls the stage of precision, where now the discipline comes in and you focus on the details. But at this stage, the student, or even yourself, if you're in this process, will have all you need to focus, your interest, your motivation, no matter how difficult or challenging. And that is a key element: focus, concentration. But people try to develop concentration and focus in the wrong ways. They just think it's a switch you flip on in their own minds or in a student's mind. And unfortunately, as we can see over the generations, the attitude towards education shows that on the whole, education appears to be boring. Reading books just doesn't really matter. And that's the effect of schooling. So once we're in this precision stage, which is driven by a romance, which is driven by wonder, curiosity, self-discipline, then we can move and learn some of the most amazing things we can learn about this world. At which point we go to the stage of generalization, which is we see how this information fits in the bigger picture, in the bigger canvas. In other words, all information is connected to every other information. It has attachments. It's in a network, which produces its significance. Significance is not merely in and of itself only, but it's also in the way that it coexists, in the way that it can be applied in our lives. And so this is a rough sort of presentation of what this quote is all about. And there's more to say here, but I'll stop here. I want you to remember that education, as Whitehead says here, is a guidance towards your individual comprehension of the art of life. Life, the totality of your existence, the totality of your capacity and ability to not just think, but to feel. So when you learn, when you take up education, we're not just talking about being book smart or remember a math formula. That's included, but we're also talking about understanding other cultures, understanding yourself, learning about different art forms, understanding beauty, producing beauty, thinking about the universe, all of these things. This is the art of life. Thank you, patrons. Thank you for your support. Feel free to shoot questions. And if you want to know more about anything that I talk about, any book I'm reading, please feel free to send me a message. Until next time.